Fergie is preparing to go nuclear, to drop the bomb that for a long time she has resisted.
Harry and Meghan are incredibly nervous about the possibility of a tell-all memoir from Sarah Ferguson.
And here is Meghan Markle posting on her Instagram, going to the island. That's Little St. James. And by the way, this plane, PJWIT, was flying to Little St. James, especially on that date that she posted this story.
Sarah Ferguson just got turned down by every major publisher in America. The Sunday Express reported it today. She pitched a tell-all memoir to U.S. publishing houses, asked for $2 million, and got back a string of rejections and zero response in a few cases.
She knows the way for the big payday is a Prince Harry-style autobiography. A $20 million advance, like Harry received, is what she wants.
One Hollywood source said nobody is remotely interested in being seen to enable her to cash in on the scandal that has torn her family apart. $2 million. Rejected. The woman who knows more about what happened inside the royal family than almost anyone alive couldn't even get a meeting.
And the people who are most terrified about this are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, because it is Fergie, of course, who could reveal all about what really went on with this couple and the British royal family and Andrew behind the scenes.
And here's what makes this dangerous. Not for Fergie, but for Meghan Markle, because the rejection doesn't kill the book. It makes it worse. A desperate woman with royal secrets, Epstein emails, and nothing left to lose just found out that playing nice with publishers doesn't work, and the people who should be paying attention to that, specifically the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are reportedly already terrified.
As far as we know, this is a real email. This is in the Epstein files, yet nobody's touching it. It is very telling, again, how the mainstream media is refusing to address this.
According to Radar Online, multiple publishers had approached Ferguson about a tell-all. An insider said she could formalize a deal for financial security. And the Sussexes, the same couple who made $20 million from their own tell-all book Spare, are reportedly anxious about how their actions and private exchanges might be framed by someone who was actually there when it all went down.
That memoir, or a memoir of that scale, would of course revisit some of the most controversial moments in royal history, including the fallout from Megxit.
Tom Sykes at the Daily Beast wrote that courtiers fear what he called a pulling a Harry scenario, a big money deal in exchange for a narrative the institution cannot control. But here's the part nobody is connecting yet. The US publishers said no. That doesn't mean UK publishers said no. That doesn't mean Australian publishers said no. And it definitely doesn't mean a streaming deal or a television interview is off the table.
The press is completely ignoring this. The press does not want to touch the fact that Meghan was called as a witness by Virginia Roberts, who said that she was a close associate of Prince Andrew. And of course, it's not in anybody's best interest to have Meghan Markle testify, because they know that she knows a lot. And this is why this woman is flaunting her impunity around or feels untouchable.
An OK Magazine insider said Ferguson has closely analyzed the path Harry and Meghan took, starting with a televised interview, moving into streaming projects, culminating in a book. And she views it as a successful formula for both retaliation and financial stability. The source added, she is following that three-pronged strategy with real intent as she prepares to go totally rogue on the royals. It could be an absolute disaster for the firm.
She needs the cash. She thinks it's already too late for her daughters because William is slowly marginalizing them.
Now, to understand why Meghan specifically is more vulnerable than anyone else in this situation, you need to understand one relationship that nobody talks about enough: Meghan Markle and Princess Eugenie. Most people know the surface version. Eugenie and Meghan were friends, real friends. According to Omid Scobie's Finding Freedom, Eugenie called Meghan just the tonic for Harry. They went on double dates. They holidayed with the Clooneys in Lake Como.
That Meghan utilized Beatrice and Eugenie to get closer to Prince Harry. And I think that that's an element of the story that Harry and Meghan leave out.
And when Harry and Meghan left for California in 2020, Eugenie and her husband, Jack Brooksbank, moved into Frogmore Cottage, the Sussex home renovated with millions in taxpayer money. They lived in Harry and Meghan's house during the most turbulent period in modern royal history.
Eugenie not only went to the Super Bowl with him, we've seen her in Montecito with her husband having dinner with Harry and Meghan. Eugenie lived in Frogmore Cottage amongst their things, amongst Meghan's journals.
And Eugenie's mother is Sarah Ferguson. And this is the part that should genuinely worry Montecito, because the relationship between Meghan and Eugenie wasn't casual. It was built on trust during a crisis. When Meghan first entered the royal family, confused, Overwhelmed, navigating an institution she didn't understand, and reportedly clashing with staff from day one, Eugenie was one of the people she leaned on. According to insiders quoted across multiple outlets, Meghan shared things with Eugenie, personal things, behind-the-scenes details about her experience inside the palace, about her relationship with Kate, about the tensions with staff that would later become the bullying allegations, about the conversations that led to Megxit, things she said in confidence, in private, believing they would stay between friends.
I'm not sure how far Fergie would go. Perhaps Meghan and Andrew have crossed paths. I mean, it's something that I'm not sure will even come to light. I mean, it's highly suspicious given the circles that Andrew and Meghan have obviously floated in. You know, we have photographic evidence of Meghan hanging around with friends of, who Andrew did, is the Epstein circle.
And Eugenie, as any daughter would, talk to her mother. That pipeline, Meghan to Eugenie to Fergie, is the reason Sarah Ferguson's memoir is the one thing in the world that keeps Meghan Markle up at night. Because Fergie doesn't need palace insiders. She doesn't need anonymous sources or leaked documents. She has a direct line to someone Meghan trusted during the most volatile period of her royal life. And the things people say in confidence when they're angry, hurt, and planning an exit, those are exactly the things that sell books. And now look at Fergie's actual situation, because this is where the rejection from US publishers actually makes things more unpredictable, not less.
David Boyes, who was Virginia Giuffre's attorney, wanted Meghan Markle to give evidence in the civil trial, saying that there were things about Andrew that she knew.
That's true.
Tom Sykes at the Daily Beast described her as fully cast out. No official role, no access to public funds. 7 charities dropped her in a single week after the Epstein files revealed her calling Jeffrey Epstein her supreme friend. Her ex-husband has been stripped of every royal title and arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. She has 6 closed businesses, many of which still owe money. She hasn't been seen publicly in months. She reportedly spent nearly a month at Paracelsus Recovery in Switzerland, a wellness clinic where a stay costs $17,000 a night.
She's gone from a £13,000 a night Zurich wellness retreat to a spa hotel, a VIP spa hotel in Ireland. She's been to the Middle East begging for money. She's got no economic options left. No one's giving her money anymore.
Reports describe her bouncing between borrowed villas, Gulf bolt holes, and high-end retreats. Even as friends tell the press she's effectively broke and almost homeless. And this is not a woman who has never pulled the trigger before. In 1996, right after her divorce from Andrew, Ferguson published a memoir called My Story. One passage about borrowing Princess Diana's shoes and catching plantar warts was so offensive that Diana stopped speaking to her. They never reconciled. Diana died the following year. Tom Sykes wrote that Ferguson has already proved she is willing to write things that upset the palace. She's done it before. She paid a price, and she did it anyway.
Fergie has secrets, and her financial desperation takes her to dark places, cash for access. So I do believe that the Sussexes could and should be worried about this new development.
Radar Online reported that Eugenie is preparing a room for her mother at her oceanfront villa in Portugal, a $4.7 million property. Meanwhile, Andrew reportedly spends his days at Royal Lodge ranting about the removal of his titles and playing video games. That is the current state of the York family, one parent facing criminal investigation, the other pitching a memoir from borrowed accommodation, and their daughter housing her mother in exile, while watching her own royal future collapse in real time. A friend of Ferguson's told OK Magazine, any honest memoir would inevitably include accounts of where the bodies are buried in the royal family. That's a direct quote, where the bodies are buried. And a second source added that the motivation is as much financial as reputational. Her circumstances are very different now. She is a 66-year-old woman who has survived cancer twice, become a grandmother, and watched everything she built inside the institution get demolished in a matter of months. And here's where the royal family's response tells you exactly how seriously they're taking this.
I believe that Andrew and Meghan have crossed paths. Meghan was friends and going on holidays with Epstein's girlfriend. There's no way that you can't tell me Meghan wouldn't have got an invite through some of her friends to attend the big lavish parties that Epstein was known for throwing with lots of girls, some professionals, some not, some models, some D-list cable TV actresses desperate for fame.
According to In Touch Weekly, the royals are considering suing Sarah Ferguson to stop the tell-all from causing what they called lasting damage. legal action against the mother of 2 princesses over a book that hasn't even been written yet. The report said Prince William has already effectively cut off Beatrice and Eugenie, banning them from royal Ascot, instructing the family not to appear in photographs with them, and excluding them from all public-facing events. Biographer Andrew Lowney told the Daily Express that the princesses should renounce their titles entirely, that Beatrice is really Mrs. Mapelli Mozzi now, and without the title, nobody would give her 5 minutes. And this is where the Meghan angle locks into place. Because if the royal family strips Beatrice and Eugenie's titles, and there's growing evidence they will, then what exactly does Eugenie have left to protect? Why would she keep Meghan's secrets? Why would Fergie hold back? The entire leverage the palace has over the York family is the threat of further punishment, but you can only threaten someone who still has something to lose. Fergie has already lost her title, her home, her charities, her public role, and her ex-husband's freedom. Eugenie is about to lose her title and her place in the royal family. At some point, the people with nothing left become the most dangerous people in the room. And that is why Meghan Markle should be more worried about Sarah Ferguson than about any tabloid, any biographer, or any palace insider who's ever leaked a story about her.
You know, so there is a good chance that Meghan does know something about Andrew, because she never said anything, Harry never said anything with all of their attacks, and it makes you think, why? Why did they protect Andrew? And it might be because Andrew could have fired back and said that he does in fact know Meghan. You know, it could be a real tit-for-tat moment for them.
So what exactly could come out? Let's get specific, because this isn't just about vague secrets. There are at least 4 concrete areas where a Ferguson memoir could directly contradict the Sussex narrative, and every single one of them is documented enough to survive a publisher's legal review. First, the Kate incident. Meghan told Oprah that it was Kate who made her cry over the bridesmaid dresses before the wedding. Multiple royal biographers, including Valentine Lowe in Courtiers, reported the opposite, that it was Meghan who left Kate in tears. The palace investigated. The results were never published.
When you have been lied about for a series of years, how hurtful that is. So imagine that for over a period of months and years, and you know that it isn't true.
But Eugenie was at that wedding. She was in the bridal party's orbit. She was one of Meghan's closest contacts inside the family at that exact time. If Meghan told Eugenie what really happened in that fitting room, and if Eugenie told her mother, then Fergie has the one thing no biographer has: a first-hand account from someone Meghan confided in directly. And if that account doesn't match the Oprah version, the damage to Meghan's credibility would be irreversible.
Here's what I would say about that. I think it's very important to shift this idea that play the opposite and make sure you can be taken seriously. My point in all of this is that no matter what you look like, you should be taken seriously.
Wow.
Second, the bullying allegations. In 2018, a formal complaint was filed by palace staff accusing Meghan of bullying behavior. Jason Knopf, the Sussexes' own communications secretary, reportedly submitted the complaint. The palace commissioned an internal review. It was never made public. The Sussexes denied everything.
We all know that they behaved badly. We all know that they treated staff badly. We all know that Meghan definitely bullied everybody and anybody that she could, whether it be the Queen's chefs, the gardeners, Catherine and William's nanny, the Queen's dresser. I mean, Meghan really was a force when she joined that family of just being terrible to everyone.
But Eugenie was inside the institution during that period. She was close enough to Meghan to hear her side, and close enough to palace staff to hear theirs. Whatever version of events Eugenie shared with her mother over family dinners is now sitting in Fergie's memory like a loaded weapon. Third, the Megxit timeline. Harry and Meghan publicly framed their departure as a desperate last resort, forced out by racism, media hostility, and lack of support. But multiple insiders have suggested the exit was planned months earlier than the couple admitted.
You know, what they're ultimately scared of with the Fergie book is alternative versions of events coming out. Since Harry and Meghan have moved here, they've monetized their version of events, not necessarily the truth, but their truth through Spotify, Netflix, and Harry's book deal.
Finding Freedom, the Sussex-friendly book, even acknowledged early conversations about leaving. If Meghan was confiding in Eugenie during 2019 about plans to leave before the official announcement, Fergie could establish that the exit was strategic, not reactive. That changes everything about the sympathy narrative the Sussexes built their American brand on. And fourth, the Soho House connection. Meghan and Eugenie moved in the same Soho House circles before Harry entered the picture. Marcus Anderson, a Soho House executive, helped arrange the blind date between Meghan and Harry, and Soho House's private membership circles in London during 2013 to 2016 overlapped with networks now under intense scrutiny following the Epstein file releases.
Once a Soho House basic bitch, always a Soho House basic bitch.
Jeffrey Epstein was also Harvey Weinstein, very prominent. There were members. Meghan Markle was just one of the working girls for Soho House. Call girl, working girl, escort, whatever you want to call it. That's what she was.
Nobody is saying Meghan did anything wrong, but the question of who she knew, when she knew them, and what conversations happened in those private rooms, that is exactly the kind of detail a Ferguson memoir could bring to light. And once it's in print, nobody can unwrite it.
Jeffrey looks very forward to hosting dinner on November 30th at 8 p.m. at Martin Novak's Institute located at 1 Braddles Square, Suite 6. Please have the guests call or Corinna on their cell as the guest approaches the Institute so they can come down and let them in. Thank you, Leslie, assistant to Jeffrey Epstein.
That's 4 chapters, 4 areas where the Meghan narrative could get rewritten by someone who doesn't answer to Montecito. And that is what has the Sussexes reportedly terrified. Not speculation, not gossip. The specific possibility that the version of events they sold for $20 million is about to get a competing edition written by the mother of the woman who heard it all first. Because here's the final twist that just landed today. US publishers rejected Fergie's $2 million pitch, but Harry's spare earned $20 million in advances alone. Ferguson reportedly floated $11 million as her target. The gap between what she's asking and what she's getting tells you one thing. The publishers aren't saying no to the story. They're saying no to the price. And when a woman who's effectively homeless, publicly humiliated, and watching her daughters get cut from the royal family comes back to those same publishers with a lower number and a chapter about what really happened with the bridesmaid dresses, or what Meghan said about Kate in private, or when the Megxit plan actually started, the answer is going to be very different. And Sarah Ferguson, broke, exiled, rejected by American publishers, and watching her daughters lose their place in the royal family might be the one person on earth who can rewrite the Sussex story, not because she's powerful, but because she has nothing left to lose. And the person she's closest to, the daughter who lived in Meghan's house and heard Meghan's version of events before the world did, is the person Meghan trusted most. If this story develops, and based on what we're hearing from both sides of the Atlantic, it will, we'll be covering every detail as it unfolds. Because the question is no longer whether Fergie will talk. The question is who she talks to first and how much Meghan's name comes up when she does. Make sure you're here for it.